Hello, Mechwarriors, and welcome to the Mech Bay, where we fix your mech and fix your game. What's going on, Bay Watchers? I'm your host, Josh. I need more of Lin's flair in my life. I've got my co-host, Dustin Armageddon, in the hot seat. What's going on, Dustin?
Not much today, just hanging out.
And I've got Denham the Rock with me today. How are you, Mr. Denham?
Howdy, howdy. I am present and accounted for.
And we are the Michael Bay Podcast, your number one source for all things bad boys to Transformers. And oh man, I'm reading this like a Ron Burgundy lookalike. All right, we are the Mech Bay Podcast, not to be confused with the other podcast, but we gambled it all at the Canopian Pleasure Circus. So we took out a loan and gambled it all in Solaris to try to win it all back. How about that one?
I told you not to bet on green. It's a bad idea.
I can't help it. I'm colorblind.
We're going to get quite the stable together and hit the circuit and see if we can make any money here on Solaris VII.
Yeah, we're talking about Solaris tonight. I mean, I thought it was in good order considering the new Solaris, BattleTech Essentials box came out.
Right.
Well, they were talking about how they were going to do something Solaris, and I was very excited because I love the Solaris thing. And then they announced the Essentials box, and it's like mini baby Solaris, and I got very concerned. And I'm like, this is not what I was hoping for. But thankfully, they did announce officially that this was just a cool themed box that they thought would be attractive to people, and they are working on something much, much bigger. So,
exciting.
Yep. Won't happen this year. Probably won't happen next year, but keep an ear out for 2025 ish. That's not official. Not official.
All right. Denham is scrying the future and he says 2020 maybe something.
Q3 2025. Denham, you heard it from Denham. Send your hate mail.
That's right.
Yeah, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to kind of look back at where Solaris has been, and what it's become, because it's almost become like a cultural icon for BattleTech players.
It's definitely one of the smaller places that takes up a lot of space in the BattleTech canon. So we got one little world, and we even got just really Solaris VII's a city, right? Or a group of cities on a world that are in close proximity.
Solaris VII is the planet. It's the seventh planet in the Solaris system. It has a number of cities in close proximity, but then it also has the outreaches going off. So there's stuff happening all over the planet, but it's mostly centered in Solaris City.
Yep. And you could read a BattleTech blurb, any part of canon, novel, lore inside of your rule book, and you flip a coin and there's like a 50% chance there's a mention of Solaris VII, I'd say.
Yep.
Somebody's been there, somebody's back from Solaris VII, somebody's going there. The story
Somebody just lost a lot of money betting on something there.
Somebody's fighting the Blakists on Solaris VII. Yeah.
Hey, that's where my canon character bit it.
That's right. So
fighting the Blakists on Solaris VII. Not even in a match. But, Josh, we should probably get started with the normal stuff first.
Yeah, so let's roll out the good old coolant flush and get some hobby news, hobby progress, games played, and anything else that we can think of at the time. All right, so it's a hot, hot summer out there, Mechwarriors, and what do we have to keep us cool?
Keep your coolant system flushed.
Ice cream.
I wish we had ice cream. Where's the official BattleTech flavored ice cream?
Ooh, we should make it.
Reactor coolant.
Isn't that just like a Mountain Dew slushie?
No, it's extra, extra cold because we just froze the reactor fluid or the reactor coolant. So you just eat that.
Yep, but it's so spicy.
It's very, very spicy. Nobody's died from it yet.
Heavy metal poisoning isn't lethal until it is.
Until it is.
It's incredibly sweet. Some people tell me that glycol is poisonous, but I'm still alive.
All right, but we've had the BattleTech Activity Book number 2, the long-anticipated and long-awaited coloring book for BattleTech.
I'm kind of excited about it. I checked it out this weekend. It was fun. A lot more mechs. Most of them are the Mercenaries box set type of, well, the Mercenaries Kickstarter mech.
Nice.
So it does have the ShadowHawk 2C. It does have the Viper, one of the many Vipers.
Yeah, which Viper?
I guess, yeah, it's the White Loaded. It's the
jumpy, pulsy one.
Yeah, the jumpy, pulsy one.
We know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The White Raven? Not the White Lotus.
Is it called a White Raven? The one that has two names. Like it's a black something and a White Raven.
The one that I have?
Yeah, it's the one you want.
Yeah, it's the White Raven.
Okay. Yeah, they got a picture of that to color. It's okay. Fun.
Nice. Yeah, the first one came out. None of my kids weren't old enough. I mean, they were old enough. They scribbled all over everything, but we'll see. Maybe so enable some fun father-son time, indoctrination time.
It was fun for my kids to decide what color they were going to paint their mechs when I got them, because I printed out a couple sheets with their mechs on it, and I'm like, color these and see what you like, and then we'll paint it up that way.
Okay. I mean, that sounds fun. Sounds like use these as, color testing before you put things on the table. How about that?
It worked. I liked it.
Yeah.
We don't have any really new product, except the new Barnes & Noble exclusive is actually like hitting shelves. So
it is,
the Catapult K2, the Regent, the Jumping ShadowHawk, and the Gargoyle. I haven't gone out to pick mine up yet, but it's soon. It's coming.
Yep, that was my complaint last time, was that none of the Barnes & Nobles in my area had it, and now some of them do. So,
ooh, nice.
I'm going to take a trip out there myself.
We sometimes we do mall walks, and there happens to be a Barnes & Noble there, so maybe I'll pick it up in the summer when it's hot outside. We walk with the old people. What can I say?
Are you part of the mall lappers? Like you just walk, you do the laps? Okay.
In the dregs of summer, yeah, we do the mall laps. We hang out with the old folks. We wave. Hi. We walk almost as fast as they do. But beyond that, there's a bunch of news as far as products coming to us sooner or later. Just some kind of an in-depth, got the lowdown on where some future products are as far as their development cycle, right?
But yeah, so Aaron Cahall, with the assistant line developer for Catalyst, essentially gave everyone a rundown on some things that are in the pipeline. We've got BattleTech Universe, and that's in late stage layout. So that's essentially the step before going to the printer. So
nice.
That was the big Kickstarter book, the thing that they push for the acetate pages with cutout views of things and
Right. There's a $50 version and then a $200 version. Ooh. But I can't. Well, first of all, they need to get pictures and stuff out before the Kickstarter closes, because I'm not going to spend $200 on a book that I've never seen.
What?
Especially when it has the blurb that says this is what we're going to do, unless we can't, in which case we'll put it in a slipcover. I'd like to know ahead of time.
It's Kickstarter. You just spend your money. And then you wait.
Yeah, and then I am still paying for Star Wars, so that cut out a lot of my free BattleTech spending.
Oh, so that's in late stage layout. We've got Brush Wars Season 1. Art is submitted and layout is on the deck. So that's somewhere in the middle of the process. So I never did any of the Brush Wars stuff. What about you guys?
Nope.
I have no idea what the Brush Wars are. I know there are a series of books that describe the simmering engagements during, I think, the Peaceful Republic eras, or the Dark Age, if memory serves. But I've never looked through them, the source books. So yeah, I have no idea what they are.
We've got the BattleTech Encounters is at the printer. So
Yay.
We all get to try this mystery dice game.
That sounds fun. I'm curious.
So if it's at the printer, that means it's ready.
Yeah,
ready. Get those soon.
It's ready.
Except, with the Kickstarter.
I'm very out of the loop with the Kickstarter stuff. Do you guys know anything about this BattleTech Encounters product?
It's a dice game that it's like travel BattleTech themed dice game thing, but I don't know. Okay. I don't know the rules or the concept or the storyline behind it. No.
Encounters is supposed to be the new push your luck dice game where you take the role of a mercenary command, you take contracts around the Innersphere and achieve victory by gaining reputation. So I'm guessing it's a choose your own adventure with dice rolls? That's kind of what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, push your luck one. Like there's a zombie game, a zombie dice. I think it's called Zombie Dice. And that's definitely a push your luck game, and I super enjoy that. So if it's anything like that one, but at BattleTech flavored, I'm all in.
Okay.
Yeah. Occasionally I forget that Catalyst Game Labs is a game company. They do make other games.
They have a whole board game company part now.
So
isn't BattleTech technically a board game?
Right, but I mean
for tax purposes at least.
Right.
All right. We've got Legends 2, so that's
I've got my leather-bound Legends 1 book right there. It's like a coffee table book. It has different pilots, personas, units, color pictures, and a couple stories thrown in there. It is a great. It's like a scrapbook, but not. It's just got a lot of cool things where I can show my kids. This is Natasha Kerensky. Here's her mech. Here's a story with her. Here's a write up about it. They're nice. I like them.
Okay. We got Force Manual Davion. It's in layout, so that's,
oh my goodness, we're getting our codexes.
It's past fact check and it's past editing, so now it's in the make sure the words and the pictures fit the pages now.
Nice.
So I'm actually excited because we keep hearing about these, and this is like closest to seeing where it is in the pipe.
Yeah, the Force Manuals. Which have replaced the name of the old product in my head.
Combat
I can't remember
manuals.
what they used to be.
Combat manual. Yeah.
I'm excited for those.
People have been asking for a codex-like thing for a while now, so this is a good start, and we'll see how they do.
Yeah, because we, as BattleTech players, borrow all of our miniatures from each other in that, a Centurions for these 3 factions and the Ravens for these 2 factions, having the little codices or whatever will really make that's why the Jade Falcon mechs are cool, because they have their own style and everything. So this will help, I feel like, in my head or in my brain, give a faction more uniqueness or individuality.
I like that it has the color schemes of the different units in that faction in the back of the book. So if you're going to paint them, you can just flip through all the pretty colors.
Ooh, physical camo specs. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Aren't we still technically waiting on that camo specs collection?
From last Kickstarter? Yeah.
Yeah,
we are.
How that doing, guys?
They say it's still being worked on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They have apologized several times for its delay, but it has not been canceled.
Okay.
I don't want apologies. I want answers.
Yeah.
I want products.
I want problems. And I don't think they meant to add this in, but we've got Hotspots Hinterlands, and that is writing complete. It's in fact check, and art is getting underway.
Nice.
So
rumor has it this was an oopsie, but yeah, this is my understanding of this is like another book in the series that we've been getting. Dominions Divided, Empire Alone, kind of covering moving forward into the Yale Clan era, each region of space. And this one kind of covers Terra, right? And the surrounding areas.
This is going to be a scenario book with a series of short campaigns in the former Lyran Commonwealth, Jade Falcon Occupation Zone, and Republic of the Sphere territories that have become either independent or part of a new minor power.
So cut everything I just said, because I was talking about a different book, apparently.
Right. This works really well with the campaign operations and the chaos campaign system. Like it's designed to work with that.
This sounds like the little bits that used to be in the error report books that were really good for less imaginative people like me, to kind of help me create a campaign without having to do it on my own.
Yep. That's what it is for.
Excellent.
All right, so that's pretty much all the BattleTech news that I can think of. You guys have anything new? Maybe? No?
Not
Possibly?
for news, no.
Okay. In Mech Bay news, we just released our July Patreon episode where we talk all about Star Wars, a non-BattleTech thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's mostly my fault. But I appreciated the avenue to talk and get a lot of that out. So if you're curious about that, put a lot of personal information in there about my experience with Star Wars.
Yeah. All right. We've got some hobby progress. Who wants to lead off today? Who's done the most?
Can lead off. Oh, no, not the most. The least.
Oh.
I've been out. I did say last time I was trying to prime my Crusader, and not only did I prime the Crusader, I also primed the Rifleman that came in the Essentials box.
Whoa!
And I am started. Anybody, I've seen some pictures out there of the people who have free-handed the red sunburst on their Centurion.
Yeah,
my respect to all of you. It is going to be slow work, but I hope mine looks 3/4 as good as yours when I'm done with it.
I've done the Yinlo Wang paint scheme. I did not enjoy doing it just because I'm trying to think.
I'm doing it once. This
I
is
did
my
it once for a commission, and it looked great. Like, it was as close to the canon scheme as I could, with like some artistic interpretations. I was like, you've got the old art, you got the new art. Which one do you want? And they were like, somewhere in the middle, make it look recognizable. I was like, I can do that without going crazy. And here I am a year plus later. Crazy.
Yeah, my mistake was saying, I just want to do something small and nice to do to get me back into the habit of doing hobby stuff after vacation, and that's what I started with.
No, not that.
No.
Oops. Don't want to overwhelm yourself.
All right, so how about you guys? Anyone get any real hobby progress?
Dustin?
Yep, I painted some Games Workshop stuff, so don't need to talk too much about that. I'm almost done with my Necron backlog, so I'll just say that.
I mean, you can talk about what you did.
I painted a Lich Guard, a group of 5. Spent a little extra time on them because they're not warriors. I have other tidying up to do on my Necrons, but they're about there. So this is one of my goals this year, was to paint through my backlog. I'm realizing that will likely never happen with BattleTech, just because of the way that I create lists, and I'm just, especially with the plastic being sold in the way that it is, if I need this one mech, it comes with 3 other mechs. So I'm always going to have extra BattleTech stuff laying around. That's okay. I'll try to keep it under control. But yeah, my 40K stuff is about squared away, so I might buy myself some miniatures soon.
Nice.
As a little reward. No, I need to paint my Southern Assault stuff first. Yeah.
He already talked himself out of it.
I know. But yeah, that was my hobby progress. I don't think I got much else done. Yeah, just some vacation and a little painting when I got back. How about you?
Oh, man. What did I get done? It only took 8 months, but I assembled my Greyhound miniature.
Nice.
That I picked up at last Southern Assault. That needed a lot of hobby motivation, really, to like I had to cultivate it, because the problem is it lives in my imagination rent free. So whatever I do, like model wise, will never come close to what it is in my brain.
Of course.
So I was like, I had to get over that hump, and it took me a while. I'm gonna be honest, it took me a long while.
Yeah. When you did some reposing.
I did a lot of reposing for it. I cut both the legs at the hip so I could switch the leg, because it's kind of in like a standing, like bracing position, and I love it. But I was like, I want to do something a little different. I wanted like kind of like circling whatever it's targeting for that like last pass. So I cut the hips and I switched the legs so it's into a running pose. It was real easy to do. Like, it just cut, snip, and alternate the leg position. Then I cut the shield claw arm, so it's more like up in like a shield position rather than just swinging. And then I just put the pulse laser, kind of on the target and twisted the face. So yeah, it's got minor modifications. I've seen like Gold Bishop on the Discord, like he did some major modifications. I was like, I love that, but I'm not going that far. His looks amazing. I'm like, but I want mine to be a little different as well. So
I can't wait to see it painted.
Look, it took me 8 months to assemble it. Don't rush me here.
How long did it take you, Dustin, to paint the Greyhound?
To paint and assemble, I think it was about a week. A week from when I got back.
72 hours, man.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was fast.
Okay. All right. I had to get a product photo for I saw just like the Greyhound STL photo on Fortress's site, and I was like, no, real paint. It's cooler that way. So
it does. It does. But so I got that guy done. Real happy with that. I assembled my hammerhead because, while I'm in the let's assemble models I've had for way too long, I assembled the hammerhead and I gave it like enough open hand posability so it can hold things.
Hold on, I have to interrupt you. Didn't we play a game where you had a hammerhead? Were you doing the thing where you just stuck them together with the tack?
No,
I was going to ask about that. I thought
I have a second hammerhead.
Okay.
I bought the one, and then they had the whole thing.
Okay.
I just got a second one.
So you assembled a hammerhead, not your only hammerhead.
I assembled my second hammerhead.
I was confused as well. Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess that's like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I had this one for about a year. We're clearing out the backlog, people.
Yep.
So he can hold on to a like metal girder because I was like, what do I do with a mech that has two hands that has no weapons in the hands?
Put a Battlemaster's leg in there.
Yeah, it's a catapult's leg, and the Battlemaster is holding it, sir.
That's right. Yeah.
How dare you? How dare you? So I've got like a sprue that I've like cut, and it's kind of like a girder. I've got a stick. Like I literally went outside, got a stick, and just like trimmed it so the hand like fits in it perfectly, so it slots in. And I'm like, so I've got my steel girder club for heavy rubble. I've got my wood
for
tree trunk for my light woods club, and then I have my Wolfhound 2 sea leg, which I also trimmed so that it slots into the hand. And I'm like,
nice.
And then I got my mech, arm or leg blown off hand that he's just dragging behind him.
Excellent.
So
I saw this. It looks great.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
Once again, don't ask me when I'll get it painted. That's the hard part.
Now I'm super excited.
What did I get done?
Anything else?
I got my Bombardier assembled, which has been
you go.
Yeah, no, this was my assembly time, and this was like finish up projects that I had like slow burning. Like I would like to do this, but do I have commitment issues on how I want the pose? And the answer is yes. I have major commitment issues on posing.
It was more than 6.
It was more than 6. I've got the Bombardiers. I kind of molded him the upper cockpit because I really don't like the like chest face. Like, I know I've sent so many memes to you guys of just like, how are you feeling that day? And it's just the Bombardier chest face meme.
Yeah, that's how it is.
That's how it is. I don't accept that because I like the card game art, which is essentially an unseen archer with an AMS on top. And so I like took green stuff and molded up like the kind of ovaloid cockpit and slapped it on top. Then I got some, what's the word? Liquid green stuff and then did it around it. So it kind of molds up. And nice. I liked it until I put the AMS on. And the AMS took me completely out of it.
Aw.
Yeah, the AMS in the art, Dustin's looking it up now. And it's like, that's a moderate or modest AMS. And then you get to the model and it's like, yeah, nobody needs that.
Oh, it's pretty chunky. Yeah, I do remember that from my Bombardier. Is that the one I gave you? It might be the one I gave you. No, it's a new one. Different one? Did I give you a Bombardier? Doesn't matter. Whatever. Okay.
So did that. Not 100% happy. I might take the AMS off and just leave it off and say, not every Bombardier needs AMS. At least, physically.
Yeah.
All right. So those are my 3 major assembly. And then I glued up the rest of my aerospace guys. So like finding the sticks to glue. I actually got the pin vise out to like drill into all of my planes. So the stick goes in. And then I glue that so they're solid. Like I can do the zoomy sounds right now if you guys want.
Yeah, I'm super excited about all your club collection.
Of course, you would be happiest about that, not me pinning aerospace models.
No, yeah.
I think I've assembled everything I own except like one Warcrow, which is in addition to my current Warcrow. So that doesn't count. If you have 2 of them, you don't need to assemble the second one.
That's right.
Well, that's good because I have a little drawer full of. Because all the stuff that Catalyst has put out, the Premiere stuff, all the ones that I bought 2 of, most of those I have unfinished ones in the drawer, and one finished one of each.
It's a retirement fund.
Yeah.
What else? Is there anything else I did? I'm looking at the table. I know there is. What was it? No, that sounds about it. I feel like that's it.
All right. Well, then that was it.
Oh, I bought stuff.
More stuff.
Did you guys buy things lately?
No.
No,
I'm going to. As soon as I find a Grey Death Legion box, I will go buy one.
Oh.
I'll buy 2. We know that.
I mean, I even got tagged on Instagram that Kriya Tunas was like, MechBay podcast says purchasing is hobby progress, and I felt seen. I felt so seen in that post. And I was like, "Ooh,
awesome!
You gotta call me out." But yes, so I assembled 3 models. So what does that mean? I get to buy 3 more models.
That's right.
So I bought a Gurkha, a Toyama, and a Legacy from Fortress.
Nice.
Yeah, I was feeling wobbly this weekend.
You were, weren't you?
I was trying to read through Jihad books, and
right, that's where I read about the Toyama as well. And
I'll admit, I tried reading through those error reports, Jihad, and I was like, I'm not mentally built to read through these. This style does not agree with me.
I read through the whole thing and I have the same opinion. I was not pleased, especially since they kept saying that, first of all, they're all in different parts and they bounce around a lot. And then they also say, a lot of this is hearsay. It may not be 100% accurate. Therefore, you can't use any of it as canon. So it's just a bunch of maybe it happened this way, maybe it didn't, but this is a rough idea of what happened. Let's move on, is what it said to me.
It's a black hole. It's a black hole. You can look in, and things can go into it, but it can't come out.
Yeah, no, it was awful. I skimmed the art, and there wasn't enough art for me to really enjoy it. And I skimmed through all of them.
Yeah,
I was disappointed.
Nope. I read them all.
All right.
Oh no, I did not retain very much of it at all.
Still impressive.
Yeah,
you got further than I did.
All right, so that's pretty much my hobby progress and our hobby. That's pretty much our hobby progress.
That's our hobby progress.
Let's move on to some games played. All right. Who got games in? I hope everyone got games in at least.
I got games in. I did.
You got game? Talk about your game.
Well, I can talk about our game because you were part of it.
I was. Let's start with that.
Yeah, I got a blind box in because we were using up the last of the Adepticon stuff. And
nice.
It was crazy because let's see, there was a 100-ton stone rhino, there was a 100-ton king crab, there was a 90-ton kingfisher,
yep,
and then there was a 70-ton archer that I drew.
Heavy.
So 1 heavy and 3 assaults. 2 of them clan assaults.
Thick boys.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
The archer pilot card has what's the cluster thing, the sandblaster.
Oh, okay.
It had sandblaster and oblique attacker on it.
My god.
Yeah, so we know how that goes.
Yeah, so you hidden cover and annihilated.
I hidden cover and I just shot it. Well, I only had 8 rounds of ammo for each launcher, so it ran out pretty fast.
Yeah.
But it was still enough. It was enough.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a game that made me reconsider playing with with special pilot abilities, in general at all, randomly. And I was like, I want someone to yell at.
Yeah, I like the special pilot abilities.
To a manager.
But I would like them to redo the special pilot abilities. I would like them to go over all of them with a fine-tooth comb and just restructure them all. Just say, this is how they work now. Ignore everything we've done before. That's what I want. Because
what was it to hit max? Because you took the Artemis 4 variant.
Right. So it had Artemis 4. It had Sandblaster. It was a clan LRM 20s, so no minimum range, and a -1 for oblique attacker. So oftentimes I would need a 5 to hit, which I rolled an amazing number of 3s and 4s on my 2 hit rolls. But I need a 5 to hit. And then once I did hit, I would only need to roll a 5 on the cluster table to hit with all 20 missiles for each launcher.
Wow.
Yeah. And I rolled double 1s on that more than once. But enough missiles hit. I did the damage I needed to.
I think like Oblique Attacker and Jumping Jack they kind of stick out as some of the most egregious offenders in my.
Well, now that I found out that Melee Master gives you 4 punches,
and
if you mix that with fire, fist fire, which lets you fire an unfired weapon, you can do that. If you have Melee Master, you can do that twice. So 4 punches, 2 of them can fire off weapons on your arms.
Yikes!
So they can all be a little bit overpowered.
Yeah, narrative games, guys.
But yes, narrative games.
I don't even know if that's rated E for everyone.
Yeah,
it's definitely not.
But so I drew the King Crab, and I was like, in honor of Dustin being away, I decided to roll up in his Rec Guide at Ralph XXL. Yeah, the King Crab 11.
Yep,
my baby.
So turn 1, I ran 8, and people were like, "How does it do that?
How does it do that? You can't move that. That's illegal, sir."
Yeah, it's okay.
It was weird being the fastest thing on the table for a turn.
You absolutely were the fastest thing on the table for a good 3 or 4 turns.
Three turns.
Oh no, what happened?
What do you think happened?
Did you're just like over there like, oh yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling my luck. Let's go. Oh no.
Yeah, turn 1, supercharge. So turn 2, I stopped. Turn 3, I supercharged again. I was like, oh man, I'd really love to go that 8 hexes on turn 4. And I was like, okay, I just need a 5 up. And that's a 3. Yep. It's like, okay, well that's fine. The supercharger doesn't hurt me or anything. And Denham happily walks over to his rule book. Oh no.
Oh no. Oh, it's an engine hit.
Supercharger must roll a critical.
It could be 0. So automatically the supercharger crits. So it's gone. But then you roll for crits. And for every crit, you go from the top of the center torso and start hitting uncritted items. And he rolled a 10. So that was
against
2
myself.
engine hits right then.
I was like,
that's hot.
But it still did damage. I mean, you still totally took out that Kingfisher.
That just slows the crab down.
Yeah,
it's still an angry beast, even with 2 engine hits.
It is.
Still killed the Kingfisher because what is it? LB20s is still LB20s.
It is.
They are.
But the problem,
you hit him with multiple head hits. You knocked him down. You blew off limbs. He couldn't get back up. He's just like, I can't do anything.
But the problem is, at the very last turn, I've got almost no armor left. Denham has like 2 lasers because he's used all of his ammo killing everyone else.
Right. I have 4 lasers, but 2 of them are pointed out the back because it's an archer.
Yep.
But I have a targeting computer for those 2 lasers.
So he's still hitting me like way too easily.
Yeah, super easy. And because I had gone against the Stone Rhino, and he's so slow that I used all my ammo, and he got 1 good shot at me before he died, and he hit me in the head with the large pulse laser. So I had 2 internal structure on my head, and somebody over here with 2 LB20Xs. By the time he got to me, only had 1, but could not roll a headshot.
Dang it!
Yeah.
This is the second time in a blind box game I haven't been able to kill Denham with a headshot.
Yeah. So I walked away with that guy.
Yeah. So, but what happened was his laser hits my open torso, and I'm like, okay, I got plenty of 2d6 worth of stuff, and he rolls engine. And I was like, that's fine. I don't got a fresh. Oh my god, I crit my engine twice before. So that's 3 engine hits, and I'm out. And I was like.
But an XXL engine, you had 6 engines in that one torso.
Yeah, but if I hadn't critted my supercharger twice.
Yeah. No, I know.
I did more crits to myself than you did to me.
Yep. I did 2 crits to you, and you did 3 crits to me.
I did 3 crits to myself.
I mean, you did 3 crits to you. I did 2 crits to you. You did 3 crits to you.
Yeah. I'm my own worst enemy at these games.
Yeah.
All right. So, did you get any other games in?
Nope, that was it.
Okay.
Yeah. Sounds like you guys had fun.
Yeah.
I had fun. I absolutely had fun.
I had 1 game, so I'll go, and then I'll let you go, Dustin.
All right.
I got to play NC Kestrel in some Alpha Strike. He was doing a little local Alpha Strike campaign, and I finally had a Saturday free to go check that out. and that was real fun. It was just 100 PV, so I took my classic Oscout, Raijin, Kintaro, best friends forever group, but I took the C3I Lance, or I guess I should say 3 mechs.
Yeah,
and it was
half
fun
a level 2
because I've never really ran C3I in Alpha Strike, except like that one test time, and I didn't love it. But this was much more fun. Like the Oscout jumps and targets, the Raijin kind of like flanks, and the Gintaro just like walks up the middle field with its swag pose. It's circa 2008. Arms out. It's like
thigh
arms
gap
all day.
maximum.
Yeah. But that was fun. Unfortunately, I had to loan Kestrel my dice, and man,
the loaded dice, the crappy loaded dice.
They're not loaded, but he was like, "These dice are totally not loaded, aren't they?" And I was like, "Totally not." Yeah, I had 2 fire control hits before my armor was gone.
Oh.
And then a motive. So I'm legged. I've got, +4 to shooting.
Can't shoot anything, yeah.
Can't shoot. I was like, my dice are just as violent against me as they are against anyone else. So,
nice.
But that was a good game. It came away my Oscout MVP. We got rear shots on like 3 things. Also, we played with a rule that I'd never like really looked at, which was the submerged breach rules. Like if you're just walking in water, it's just your pilot skill +2 to see if you take a crit, because that's like in classic, you shoot and then you're walking through the water,
right?
You check for breach rule. This is that, but for Alpha Strike.
Nice.
But if you're a good pilot, you can avoid it better.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, I've never played with that either.
Yeah, but we've never played with much water on our Alpha Strike table, so it's not something.
That's true.
We see +1 for partial cover and sinking heat, and we just kind of move on.
But looking at it, that's not even an alternate rule. That's just a rule.
That's just a rule that we just...
I can't wait next Alpha Strike tournament I'm in. When somebody goes into the water, I'm like, okay, guess what?
It's harder to hit them, but if they take damage and they roll bad, they get critted, so they could instantly die.
Yep.
Nice.
But that was a great game. Love playing with him. And also I was allied with Chris's, what is it? Walter Mellon's Watermelons.
Nice.
Is that another sponsor? That sounds like a sponsor.
But that was a good fun game. It was nice to get some Alpha Strike in. All right. Dustin, you traveled to go play BattleTech.
I did. I went all the way out just for a game. Just kidding. No, I reached out to the... we were having a family vacation up in Vancouver, seeing a brother-in-law. I reached out best I could to the local community, found their Facebook page, kind of, and headed out for the pickup game night at a FLGS out in the Vancouver area. Played with some lovely friends. One friend of okay, let me see if I can remember everybody's name. I think it was Dan, Chad, and Steve, using their first names only to protect the identities of the innocent. I also don't know their last names. But yeah, I rolled in. They had there was like kind of a game going, so I just hung out a little bit, talked to the shopkeep just about Vancouver, Canada stuff, North America stuff, and they wrapped up their game. And then there was 4 of us, so we did kind of a 2-headed giant situation. We played a mission, and it was like, how much battle value do you guys usually play with, or and then Steve just took out a Turkina and said, this is it. This is what I'm running. And I'm like, all right, Steve. And I'm like, is that a 3-4 pilot? And he's like, yes. I'm like, okay, so about 4,000 battle value each.
It's like, bro, this is what I do at home. I play my brother who only takes Turkinas and stuff.
Yep. Dan, who recognized my MechBay podcast t-shirt and is a listener. Hey, Dan, how you doing if you're listening? I hope I've remembered your name correctly. I'm sorry if I didn't. But yeah, Dan threw down a Skinwalker at skill, I think 3-3 or 3-4 as well. And with the cockpit situation, it was effectively a 2-2 or something like that, or 2-3. So sorry, it was Steve with the Turkina on my side. I took a Trebuchet. a Hermes. Oh, and the crab, the Wreck Guide crab, which I'd never run before. Yeah. And then on the other team, it was Dan. He had his Skinwalker, and Chad had he had a Fafnir with the 2 UAC 20s, and he had a Hollander with the Heavy Goss. He's like, I'm a gambling man. I like to roll dice. So the heavies scrummed in the middle of the board. The skirmishers skirmished. The Skinwalker picked on anything it wanted to, because with Gunnery 2, you can do that, and pulse lasers. You're hitting whatever you're shooting at. I really like that crab. Got the Fafnir nice and toasty, very toasty with those plasma rifles. The Trebuchet 9M is just always good. I use that to bully the living daylights out of the Hollander.
Chef's kiss kind of thing.
Yeah, it was chef's kiss. My Trebuchet did take a Heavy Goss rifle to the chest turn 1 as he's closing on the Hollander, but he just had to go get in there and tank it. Medium range, 20 points, did get through, scored a crit or 2 on the engine, but other than that, he was fresh, and he stayed away from that engine for the rest of the round. So my hot Trebuchet was running a little hotter than usual, but it did work. We had a great game. I had a great time out there. Thanks for playing with me, BC crew.
No, that sounds awesome. I wish I got to travel more to play BattleTech, but unfortunately, that's not a job opening I can apply for.
One day.
One day. So it's not official BattleTech, but the new Hextech terrain, the pre-painted, pre-assembled Thunderhead Studio terrain. Yeah.
Gale Force 9 pre-painted buildings in a box.
Yeah, I got to see those and hold those. Those are some hefty terrain. Like, those are not just,
They're not like your 5% infill.
But no, they were hefty resin cast with felt bottoms, and they were pre-painted, and my God, they looked amazing when I saw them on the table. Yeah, I just wanted to mention, like, those are on shelves, and they're pre-assembled and pre-painted, so, like, they're just, you take it out of the box, and you're ready to go. And I think that's pretty awesome.
Alpha Strike or Classic.
If you're flush with cash and a little strapped on hobby time, this is an option for you.
Because buying is hobby progress.
That's right.
Whether I like it or not. All right. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll get into the meat of our main subject. That is spending it all at the stables. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
All right. That's a good time to take a little bit of a break and hear a word from our sponsors.
I have one question for you. Are you ready? Are you ready for this Sunday night when Solaris champion Matt Balcombe defends his title in the Solaris Super Slam? Say goodbye to anyone standing in Matt Balcombe's way. We take some 6 mechs at a steel stadium, shoots and ladders match in the Solaris Super Slam as Matt Balcombe fights his way to the top in his Battle Master. Right now, you can own this awesome pay-per-view holo disc for just $59.99. Call now and receive not 1, but 2 extra holo discs of Matt Balcombe's rise to the top and highlights in the arena.
All right. Now, do you have too many C-bills but don't know what to do with them? Or are you not allowed back in the royal family after killing all your cousins for the throne? Or do you have nothing to lose and everything to prove? Well, there's only one real place to go. And Tukid's recruiting office is not accepting you. Okay, so there's only one other place to go. And what place is that? Solaris VII. Las Vegas in space.
It is, yep.
Would that mean that Canopus is Space Atlantic City, then?
Oh, yeah. Canopus is definitely... Or Vegas? Is it Vegas? Because you said, is that Vegas? Like, which one is which?
Yeah,
that is a whole discussion we could have with that.
I've derailed
It is.
I don't know if the scope of this, like
it is literally a bullet point in the show notes.
Yeah.
Is this Space Vegas or is that the Magistracy's
Damn, I just
department?
read ahead without realizing.
I see, but this is they have USC fights in Vegas, right? So I guess this is like Vegas. Yeah. Okay. This is totally Space Vegas.
Space Vegas on a planetary scale instead of a city.
Canopus is Florida. Next week.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Now that we've settled that, existential question, What is Solaris VII? What is the game world of the BattleTech universe?
Right? I mean, it's because, okay, in the BattleTech universe, because I've been reading a lot of the novels in the last few years since COVID, and I noticed that some authors are very much into the BattleTech branding inside their BattleTech universe. So anytime anyone is playing chess, they are playing with battle mech, like 4-inch battle mech sized chess pieces. Like everything is super branded. And so obviously they don't have boxing matches. You have to have mech fights.
Yeah.
So where better to have that than on a whole planet dedicated just to that? So they made Solaris VII the gaming world, and you can go there and you can make a name for yourself, or you can die in a blaze of glory, or just get murdered in a back alley. It is a fun place.
One of the things I like about Solaris VII is that it is the inner sphere, for the most part, more or less, on a planet.
Yes.
In the books, whether you get I have the map pack Solaris VII thing, which comes with a supplement, and Denham, you have like the
box set,
the original release box set, yeah. But they're game aids. They set up this little mini inner sphere with little cities where each of the 5 houses have influence, and there's even some clan dabbling on planet. So it's really just this little BattleTech in a can, and it's at the center of this is the mech dueling and small game fighting and stuff. So you get to gamify your game inside of your game,
right?
Yeah, which is fun.
This is an amazing place. I think we've got this further down on there, but it is an amazing place for role playing to occur.
Absolutely.
This is like the role playing game I've been doing for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
They have a home base on Solaris. Like whenever they're done with whatever their contract they have, they go back to Solaris to relax, to hang out. And instead of going to the normal like outreach to get their contracts, they go to Solaris. They have a black arms dealer named Crazy Eddie. Nice. that gets them all the best high tech weapons, but he also gives them the download the download on major contracts, stuff that only they can do. They being like an A-team version of a BattleTech company.
Yeah, just unparalleled opportunities to get in and out of the cockpit. I feel like it's the best place to do it, to just kind of switch between your in-character role-playing stuff and then switch over to the Solaris 7 box set stuff to do your battle mech stuff. So speaking of that,
I was going to say, no, Dustin, I will never make people do the box set version of Solaris. We'll get into that.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's yes,
it's something.
It is definitely something.
Well, yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about ways to play on and in Solaris 7, because one of the things I noticed with my map pack, and I had heard you mention these weird quarter turn things, is that my BattleTech map pack Solaris 7 didn't have any of that in there. It all looks to me like supplements for playing classic BattleTech.
Yes.
However, what you're just talking about was a different way to play. It was a dueling system, right?
Yes, it was a dueling system. It was they're like 10 seconds is fine for your normal fighting type stuff out in the real world when you're doing your battles over planets or whatever. But on Solaris, you've got a small arena, and you've got mechs that are either doing 1v1 or 2v2. So it's very small unit, very, very small units. BattleTech doesn't always work super well for 1v1.
Yeah,
a couple lucky hits, and the game is over way too soon.
Or a couple bad rolls of the initiative dice, and somebody's in your rear arc constantly, forever. So
yep. So in 1991, they came out with the Solaris VII box set that had everything you needed. It had maps of the different stadiums for the different houses. It had maps of the city. It had information about the different stables, about the different governments. just basically everything you needed. And it was specifically supposed to be used with the MechWarrior role-playing game.
Oh,
so
okay.
it was an independent product that could be played by itself, but everything in there was a tie-in to the MechWarrior RPG system, just because it fits so well.
Oh, absolutely.
But yes, so they tried to counteract some of the inadequacies of a 1v1 fight by making it a dueling rules. And to do that, they split every turn into 2.5 seconds instead of 10. So when they do that, like all the ranges are multiplied by 4, all of them.
Oh, because you can move 4 times as fast, I guess.
Right. Well, so like a medium laser does 12 heat. Because it's not 3 heat, it's 3 times 4, because you've got 10 seconds to get rid of that heat. But you're doing turns in 2.5 seconds. Therefore, you have a big heat spike. And then every turn you get rid of the amount of heat that your heat sinks have. But every turn is a quarter of what it is in BattleTech. So they even did that. The ranges.
So it's more lethal, but harder to like defend.
Right. Well,
your action economy is switched to like every action costs more.
Right. Well, some weapons like the ER large laser took 3 rounds to recharge, but like the machine gun recharges every time. So the machine guns you can actually fire 4 times in the same 10 seconds as you normally would be able to in a regular classic game of BattleTech. So the smaller weapons like the small lasers and the machine guns could actually put out a lot more damage with a reasonable amount of heat, but the bigger weapons like the PPCs and the large lasers, everything still does the same amount of damage, but you can't fire them every 2.5 seconds. Some of them you have to wait 7.5 seconds or 5 seconds or even 10 seconds. You could override that and fire it again, but then the heat is more than just doubled. It's amazingly higher heat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's like that, you want to get that insta kill, and you better be sure about it, because if you miss, your mech is just going to be like super, super hot. So but like the ranges, the ranges are like the medium laser, short. It doesn't have short, medium, long. It just has like the +0, the +1, the +2, the +3, +4, and +5. Right. So it even breaks it down like that. So medium laser, up to 6 hexes is a +0, up to 12 is a +1, then it goes 18, 24, 30, and 36. So at 36, 31 to 36 hexes is a +5 to hit. So everything is just down on a smaller scale.
Okay. I mean, I guess you're supposed to have one unit. You've got one avatar, so I can understand that they'd want to make things even more granular. But what I'm not understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that they didn't just divide everything by 4. Like you're saying, the machine guns just do more damage in this version of the game.
They do. They absolutely do more damage.
That's an interesting
because you can
choice.
fire them more often, because they're a safer weapon to fire and they don't generate heat and they have a fast recharge rate. So machine guns are actually, and you'll see it in the box set, there was a lot of mechs that have like 6 or 7 machine guns, and you can fire them every turn. But that big, large laser they have, you can only fire once every 3 or 4 turns. So it made the short range, close up weapons a lot more dangerous. And of course, with the ranges, a machine gun can go up to 12 hexes away because of the expanded ranges.
Okay. But the vibe I'm getting from you is that you didn't really enjoy the duel rules, because you said you'd never make your players do that.
Right. Because it took a game that was already, a 1v1 with BattleTech can take an hour. It can.
Yes, it can.
But when you make it where each turn is 2.5 seconds, then it suddenly takes 3 hours for the same
for 1v1.
Right.
Yeah.
Which just because like your weapons are recharging, or
movement too. If you're jumping, you may not land because it takes 10 seconds to jump and then land. So you have multiple turns where you're in the air, and you can spin your mech, but you can't change your vector.
Excellent. I mean, it sounds gritty. It sounds simulation, but what we're really looking for, especially in a role-playing game setting, which this is clearly built around, especially now that I'm hearing you talk about the original box set, is that you want something quick and cinematic. And this was not that. Okay.
Right. This was the opposite. It was cinematic once you finished it, and then you compressed it down to here are the highlights. But you had to get through the battle. They did add a lot of things. Like this was still back with the old partial cover rules, so they were working on fixing those. This is where they introduced the rules for disengaging your PPC field inhibitor, hot loading LRMs. You could even interlock streak SRMs. So if you hit with one, all of your streaks would lock, but it's harder to get that initial lock. But you don't have to roll independently for each streak, because this streak, the only thing Intersphere had was streak 2s. You didn't have Intersphere streak 4 or 6s, so you'd have like 4 or 8, streak 2s, and you just tie them all together.
Excellent. So that's that way to play Solaris VII. Obviously, there's role playing, but I think that's outside of our scope tonight. And then there's playing in Solaris VII with just your standard classic BattleTech stuff.
Right, because they re-released the maps with a book centered around classic, and they re-released it 13 years later. So that was in 2004. They came out with a pack, which is still available on Amazon today. You could go buy it right now. Yeah.
They printed too much of that, I guess.
They did. And the maps are great. The book is great. And that's what we're using at Hangar 18 right now is that book, not the box set.
I do have the maps. I like it. Now, it sounds to me like, since you've actually done this, that you prefer the classic BattleTech method. I read in my little book here that they really recommend like a max of 4. Do you usually keep it to duels, or do you run Solaris 7 in pairs, or maybe even lance on lance?
I normally do 1v1, but 2v2 is also fun. I don't tend to go higher than 2v2, even with the regular classic rules.
Just from the armchair, I would say that I would duels are cool. 2v2s open up some tactics and stuff and some fun things. But if you do more than that, you're just playing classic BattleTech on a funny map. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
But what's wrong with that? Isn't that why we're here?
I guess it could be.
The arenas are too small. Like they're too small to get more than 4 mechs on there and have any sort of tactics at all.
Yeah.
Tactics roll 12s. That's the only tactic I've ever needed for BattleTech.
Roll more 12s than the other guy and kick, sweep the leg, right?
Yeah.
All right. So these are kind of a bird's eye view of how you can play in Solaris 7. You get your supplement. You're probably running a role-playing game, or you've got your favorite opponent that you just want to run a duel with. You got your maps. You got your special map rules. But what is I'm looking at this and I haven't put it on the tabletop, and I'm like, what is Solaris 7? Is it NASCAR? Is it UFC? Is it Mortal Kombat and robots?
I mean, the answer is yes. It's all of those.
Okay.
It's like the world itself. You've got the main city where you've got the big money fights with the well funded stables that have all the clever toys. But then you've got the outreaches, which are like the junkyard battles where you just have somebody with this beat up Stinger who welded the steam shovel hook on there. And it's just like whatever you can get on there. And it's like the monster truck fights. And that's how you pick up some extra cash, just start getting your name out there. However, in the books, at least, everything that they throw at you is all battle mech related.
Yeah. They
do mention in there that there are other things. You've got aerospace battles on Solaris. Mm-hmm. You have infantry, tactical type stuff that you can do. It's a lot like that kill team from Warhammer.
Well, he's just like touches on exoskeleton death matches and just like, that's a thing. Let's move on. I was like, whoa.
Oh, they're amazing too.
It's not even battle armor. It's not even power armor. It's exoskeleton fights.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, it's crazy. I take it a step further in my role playing games because we like Gaslands.
Yes,
but Gaslands, I have signs for the different Solaris houses and stuff in there. So in my headcanon, this thing with cars takes place on Solaris because there can be boxing matches and car races. I mean, there can be all kinds of things, but they're just hyper focused on the BattleTech aspects. But the books do mention there are other sporting events.
Yeah,
but that's not in the scope of this book.
Bro,
Yeah.
I want to do the Equatus 500 Hover Blitz Championship where I just get a bunch of hovercraft with guns and run them around. There's like multiple laps where people die. Like this just seems like Death Race or Red Line, and it's just amazing. Like that,
it's out there, and if it's not, then it is in your world, so it can be.
Yeah,
why are the non-mech things more interesting for me on Solaris? It's like this is when you get the weird stuff and you do weird things with it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing that's outside of the scope because, anything, you can make money off of betting on anything.
So in here, I saw there are some rules for starting up your own stable. It seems pretty generic. You kind of roll up if you want to. You can roll off on what access you have to technology and how many points you get. There's a lovely little table in my book with how much customization you get. Like, oh, you want to swap the engine? That's expensive, but you want to, weld some extra machine guns to the exterior of your mech. They're pretty cheap. So and in here, there's rules for starting up your unit. Is that typically how you do it?
Right. Yeah. Because like I said, we're at our local store. We're starting to start up a Solaris tournament type thing. Well, more of a Solaris circuit that's supposed to go for like 3 months.
Excellent.
And people will get to pick their stable or create their own stable under those rules, and then customize some mechs and come in with different weight classes of mechs. I'm not super concerned about BV with this because
it's not the spirit.
It's too chaotic. I mean, there's going to be weight classes, but it's more how you pilot your mech than the BV. We're not even focused on the BV for it. And then the better you do, the more money you get to spend on the better quality toys.
Oh, absolutely. Another thing I saw in my lovely sheet, and we're going off of the map pack Solaris VII.
Right. Well, the other one, the box set, like it came out a bit after the clan invasion, so you've got like ER large lasers and LB-10Xs. It's basically the stuff after the Helm memory core.
Okay.
Like we have those types of weapons. But aside from a few optional rules that they introduced, like I said, like the hot swapping LRMs, et cetera, like that's where all those came from.
Yeah.
It didn't add a lot of extra equipment or anything like that. But looking at that book that you've got, the one that came out in 2004.
They added equipment.
They added all kinds of stuff in there. That's where you get all your really fun melee weapons. That's where you've got your battle mech taser. The M-pods were first introduced in there.
Yep.
And a couple others, which I think that you're pretty excited about.
Oh yeah, we got the claws, we got flails, maces, shields. I mean lances. Can we do mech jousting? Of course.
Right?
This is Solaris VII.
Look, the Lancelot exists to put a lance on and run it at a mech.
I put 2 lances on my Lancelot, and then they lanced each other.
They took this stuff out of the Solaris book and they put it into the tactical operations. I think that's where it lives now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Most of this is not Battle Mech manual legal.
No.
You got some spikes.
I like they have a whole section on just cosmetics. Let's do stuff to your mech that has no actual combat impact, but it aids for your how much does the crowd like you? That's important in this system.
Yeah,
is the crowd,
and that's the crowd. What do they call it here? They call it the crowd participation modifiers table. Now this is what really struck my mind as I was thumbing through this book when I bought it probably like 5 years ago. And then when I was rereading it in preparation for recording tonight, the crowd participation modifiers table seems like the kind of thing that really spices up a 1v1 in classic BattleTech. Because there's modifiers to your like initiative rolls and stuff in here.
It's the outside interference that is really like driving the game. It's like the hand of God, messing with things.
Right. It'll give you a +1 to your gunnery for the next turn,
Yeah.
or your opponent a -1 if they did something in the crowd, just if they fell out of favor with the crowd. Like it's the crowd itself can influence the tide of the battle, and if you're doing poorly, suddenly that gives you the edge that you need to pull back in the next round or two.
Yeah, here it is. I was looking for it. You get you're like you were saying, your +1 modifiers to your gunnery and piloting rolls. Minus the initiative modifiers, also what really caught my eye. Spending your crowd participation points to modify your initiative roll, because 1v1 initiative is going to be pretty important.
Very, very important.
And then last but certainly not least, I stumbled upon something. Now, this was great for me because there's this constellation of rules floating around in TAC Ops. Maybe I've caught in these little glances or these little mentions of like oil or coolant inside of a gun, and I'm like, what is this stuff with, like, what's a fluid gun? And then I think I finally, after all these years, found the holy grail, and that is the fluid gun table.
Right, because that is in the Solaris book. Yep.
So all of a sudden, everything fell into order, everything crystallized, and I was looking here through the fluid gun table, and I'm like, why would you spend research and development dollars? Like, think about how much New Avalon Institute spends trying to create new algorithms for their electronic warfare suites, when instead you could just spray paint at the other mech.
Right.
And do roughly the same thing.
But like you can put so many different fluids in your fluid gun. It gets tactical. So you might have paint in yours, and you might spray it at the other person's cockpit or sensors. But his teammate might have one with water, because the meta is people are spraying paint on them, and he'll turn around and spray water
rinse you off.
Rinse it right off.
But
goodness. Paint and water are just two of like the 6 different things you can shove in there.
I mean,
fire retardant foam, oil slick, coolant, corrosives, paint and obscurant / obscurant, and water. Yeah. Lovely, lovely stuff.
I was like, is this a Coke or Pepsi? Like,
right.
Like, which one sponsors Solaris for the brand, right?
It seems like a Pepsi thing to me. It does.
I mean,
it seems like a very Pepsi, like the Pepsi Man and the Harrier and the leather jacket. This all seems very Pepsi, in the Pepsi wheelhouse.
Pepsi 7.
I mean, I know if I'm ever find myself battle challenged inner sphere style to a 1v1 Solaris 7 style duel, I really want a fluid gun on my mech, and I want the crowd participation rules, because I mean, there's legitimate tactic, and we'll talk tactics here in a minute, but I'm like, the oil slick gun, you got a fast mech and you just cover everything with oil, run away, all of a sudden maybe Sniper does have a role in Solaris 7. If you can oil slick everything, it's like, yeah, come try to brawl with me, you're going to trip and fall.
Yeah, and then you're going to slide into the pool of acid. There are acid pools in these maps, and they do major damage.
I love it.
You don't want to fall in these things.
I want 2 fluid guns on my battle mech. The riflemen, just take out the ACs, put in the fluid guns.
Well, they're only 2 tons. They're not heavy, so you can you can swap them out with. So
you're telling me I can have 6 fluid guns on my riflemen?
It's like a porcupine that just sprays stuff all over. It's yeah.
It was easier to weld the fire truck to the mech.
Yeah.
So besides fluid guns and audience participation affecting it, you've actually got stuff like Denham, you mentioned acid pools, and you're essentially fighting the terrain at most of these maps as well, because they have their own special.
There's countless numbers of different arenas. The box set and the book go over 5 of them. They just go over like some of the main ones of each of the houses. So they pick like one of each house. So Karita has this maze that's constantly changing.
So in
the
tunnel. Ishiyama, the Iron Mountain.
The Iron Mountain. So what you do in that is that you actually take the map that it comes with and you cut it. There's 2 different maps, and you cut them into quarters, and then you just mix them up and draw them randomly to attach, the sides to each other, because all the sides attach just fine. And then it makes random paths through the mountain that you never know how it's going to look one way or the other.
Yep.
Some of the other ones, they're larger maps, but you only play on 2/3 of it at any given game, and you roll to see like which 2/3 you play on.
Yeah.
One of them is the map it comes with is all icy, but it specifically says that it's like a holodeck type of thing, so it can be anything. And so it really says, if you want it to be random, just take all of your maps that you've got and just randomly draw like 2 maps from there, stick them together, and that's your arena today. Which I think is the most boring one because it's just you're just playing on your 2 maps.
That's the Davian Boreal Reach one.
Exactly.
Yeah. I remember playing in a trash pit. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's a mud pit.
The mud pit is in the Reaches. That's in the Reaches pack that came with that was an expansion to the box set. There's a junkyard that you could play in. There was the trash pit. There was a swimming pool that you really wanted to have UMUs to float around in. Sir,
that is the pool.
The pool, yeah.
Bracken Swamp.
We missed a Steiner Coliseum.
That I feel like that's the most when I think of as a BattleTech person, Solaris VII Steiner Arena like pops into my head. You got the walls moving around. You're trying to
the walls and the pillars all pop up and down. It's very interactive. It's the one that we play the most because it looks really good with 3D printed terrain, the 3D printed walls, and it's very exciting, and it's something that everybody gets to do because each player rolls twice on the table at the beginning of their turn, and that can affect how the arena looks for that next turn.
Yeah.
It's funny because the Essentials box set has a smaller version of the Steiner Coliseum, which they call the Steiner Stadium. It is a little bit smaller dimensionally, but it also doesn't have the pillars. It only has the walls. And I found that funny because in the original box set, the Steiner Coliseum, which is exactly like the one in the map pack, is called Steiner Stadium. So there's definitely a bit of name changing going back and forth there behind the scenes. So, but
interesting stuff.
Canonically now, Steiner Coliseum is the big one, and Steiner Stadium is the little one that comes in the Essentials box.
Okay. So we talked a lot about what Solaris 7 is, different ways to enjoy Solaris 7, use Classic. The spirit of Solaris 7 in that you can do anything with it. You can race your cars. You can have exoskeleton fights.
Yeah, that's right.
Addition to your battle armor fights. Yeah. Josh's dreams coming true. How to start your unit up. Some of the fun things that really spice up this game. But what if you're a person who's actually going to play Solaris 7 and you want to win? Maybe you're like me and you've literally never done this before. Let's talk some tactics, because when I look through this and I thumb through all this and I take my classic BattleTech knowledge base, I just want to bring an arm flipper with a million little guns that's fast. That's my initial go-to. Is that all you do? Do you only brawl? Do you bring the heat literally? How do you win in the arena?
Exactly. It's some people play to win. Some people play for fun. Mm-hmm. Like I said in one of our recent episodes, too many mechs with the name Viper. The Crusader-based Viper that has the 4 plasma cannons. In the left arm, and then the big mace in the other arm with TSM.
It does both of those things.
Yeah, he is a lot of fun to play. He's not going to win a lot, but he is fun to watch. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he's got the cardboard arm internal structure.
That's right.
So once you break through the armor, he goes down really, really fast. But it's a lot of fun to think about all the fire he's spewing out everywhere. And if you do happen to get caught and then your heat goes way up and you're super slow, and then you just see that double damage mace coming in, it's frightening. So that's how I tend to play the flashier mechs, and the more melee weapons, the better.
Yeah.
Put some spikes on there, so if people hit you, they take damage as well.
Ooh, nice.
I don't tend to do, like the classic match was the Centurion versus the Rifleman. I can't ever see bringing a rifleman into the arena intentionally, at least not the original rifleman.
Oh yeah, that seems like the worst choice.
Right. Sure, it can flip its arms, but it's just not designed for close range combat. So obviously Grey Noten was cheating all the time. That's my opinion. All the time. I don't think he ever legitimately won a match.
I mean, besides the mech with the fluid guns everywhere, I do like the Viper. I do like the idea of a welterweight, maybe a lighter heavy with a little token heat just in case, and some small guns and some melee fun. Absolutely. TSM if possible, and some melee weapons.
It gets way worse too, because if you're playing by the rules, the audience not only can influence your initiative rolls or your gunnery skills or whatever, they can pay money and take over a turret, which will pop down and start shooting at people. Yeah, that's in there. That's in the rules. They can disable your jump jets because you're under contract and everything that you've got. They can control your different systems on your mech. It's all about the money. So it can be as chaotic as you want.
I would want to use a lot of these things to kind of, I guess in a game master sense, to play catch up. Like if somebody was clearly losing, you want to cinematic tight. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You want to tight.
So you suddenly give him all the advantages just to get it back to an exciting fight, because you don't want it to be over too fast.
No.
And maybe you've bet money on the other guy and he has to, he's got to win.
Or maybe the crowd gets really frustrated with the mech that's spraying oil everywhere. It uses the turrets to shoot that guy.
Yeah.
Everybody slides around and rolls on the floor.
So that's really hard to bring into a fair and balanced pickup game, but it's narratively it is super, super awesome.
Yeah, definitely sounds like a beer and pretzels night. If you're rolling in a local game store to play some Solaris VII, I mean, you can't be too serious about it.
You cannot take it seriously. If you do that, you're in the wrong place.
But part of that is the reason why we have all these like Solaris exclusive mechs, like Record Sheets 3055. Like that's a lot of Solaris mechs that only exist there.
The Onslaught, I think, is one of those.
Mm-hmm.
The Reaver. Yeah, there's a bunch of really interesting builds where you're like, this doesn't make any sense until you play it not only in Solaris, but with the dueling rules, specifically with the dueling rules. And then they're like, oh, I see where they're going with this. This makes a lot of sense now. Yeah,
the Onslaught has 6 machine guns, a large X-Pulse, a light AC5, and 2 SRM6s. And you're like, that's so weird of a loadout. Why would you be so devoted to machine guns?
Right, because you can fire them 12 hexes and you can fire them every turn.
Yeah.
If you're coming to a duel, Josh, are you bringing your Piranha?
I mean, there is the Piranha 5, which has 10, 12 machine guns and the supercharger, so it runs 18. So I'm like,
it'd be amazing.
This is designed for Solaris. Why don't I take it? Do you guys have like a favorite of the Solaris, iconic mechs?
Ooh.
Man, I used to. I used to be able to tell you exactly which one that I would play the most, but all the battles have blurred together now. I just enjoy, like Dustin said, that's one where I will actually have a beer while I'm playing and just relax and just have fun, because it's more about what happens than winning.
I know I can say if I were able to make it in for the Solaris stuff, I'd be trying to bring a quick draw. I don't know why that mech chassis speaks to me spiritually in a Solaris 7 context, but something about it being fast for its weight, and it is a heavier mech, so it can bring the punches or the sword swinging or the mace bashing. It seems like it's got enough room to customize it and deck it out and weld spikes to it. And
I would love to see Dustin's version of the Mad Max version of the quick draw.
Oh, absolutely. Maybe a couple fluid guns in the rear arc, just in case.
Oh man, a fire starter, but mostly fluid guns.
But yeah,
Is that the fire extinguisher? Like,
I think so. You fill it all with fire retardant, and you run a pair of fire starters. You light one side of the arena on fire, and you have fire retardant in the other.
Or just the corrosive acid, the fire and acid together. There'd be all kinds of cool things you could do.
Yeah, but also the quick draw is like a dime a dozen. I feel like you could dig one. Yeah, you dig one out of the trash heap. Yeah,
lots of spare parts. But yeah, tactic wise, like there's just too many variables to just say, well, this is the best tactic for Solaris. There isn't, because even if you come up with one, it may not work in half the arenas.
That's true.
How many tactics work in the pool?
Yeah, none of them.
That's why the Aqua Gladius exists, for that one reason.
Just for that, just for the pool out in
the stable has that, and they're like, "Oh man, we rolled pool again." It's like that one Aqua Gladius pilot
puts his glasses on.
Yeah.
Yo, Tom, you're up.
But yeah, there's just so much. There's so much in Solaris that you can do, that you can add to things, that you can get inspiration from. It's. I can see why they originally made it a box set, because it really is a very standalone microcosm in the BattleTech universe. Like you could just do that and still have years of fun.
Oh yeah, it's a mini BattleTech on one planet. I like it.
Yep. Well, I can't wait to talk about this again when we find out what Catalyst is doing with it next. It's going to be a few years,
up?
so
hey, maybe
it'll be a while.
Yeah, maybe I'll be able to get us more games in. Then I'd love to play some Solaris 7.
Oh yeah, well we'll be setting it up, and we'll be doing the announcements when we've got it going. It won't be till after the tournament.
Okay.
But yeah, it's something that a lot of people are interested in. So yeah, we'll announce it. It'll be fun.
I don't know if we really touched on this, but if you were to take all of this this original 1991 box set and try to modernize it, you kind of have to meet the classic we all play and love, and that original Solaris 7, and meet somewhere in the middle. Are there any things that you would just keep this the way it is, and other things that you get rid of this because it won't work?
I had thought about that recently, actually, because Alpha Strike is a faster game, and I remember thinking, would Alpha Strike work for a faster? And then I immediately decided I do not want an Alpha Strike version of Solaris at all. That is the opposite of what I want. I like the granularity. I like that it's more. Every decision is more impactful. Like each individual section's armor is super important. I would like to find some way to make it more granular without adding as much extra turns as the 2.5 second turns brought. But I would like, I'd like it to show off mechs being more fluid in their actions, because they're trained duelists. I mean, these guys just do Mechwarrior dueling. They should be able to pull off maneuvers that are inefficient or wouldn't work in a combat environment, but are super flashy, are crowd pleasers, and can sometimes surprise an opponent into giving you an advantage, if not victory. I would like to see those sorts of things added on.
So you're more like a secondary or special table of mech actions rather than just push, charge, punch, you're talking duck or juke or
Jink, yeah.
Maybe
a lot
you
of
have to roll
things.
Skills for those things. All right,
or like a judo throw type
table.
of thing. So instead of pushing a mech away from you, you basically the mech is in front of you, and at the end of the maneuver it is behind you. And then you can also turn in that. So it's like pulling a mech out of the corner type of maneuver, stuff like that. There's so many different melee weapons now. Why not some more melee maneuvers?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, because that's kind of a surprise when you're playing Classic, is you come in and you do the push. You're like, oh, you move me on, that instead of moving you. That's such a rare thing in Classic. And
right.
Yeah, that would be a place where that could be expanded upon is definitely Solaris VII with the grappling and stuff.
Right. And even if they made it like half, like 5-second turns instead of 10-second, like, I don't know. Like I the more you play it and the more you get used to it, the faster the games go. But getting enough people to that level is pretty much impossible. And that's what slows down the game. But if you could come up with something easier that people would be more willing to try, I think it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, you want to add depth without adding time or complexity, which is
hard.
I mean,
it's super hard.
Super hard to do.
So until then, like, I'd say, like, keep the terrain hazards like acid or
those,
walls that move, things, physical dangers that, like, oh, this pit drops to level 3 if you're standing on it, and like then you just take the damage, or turrets on the outside that the audience is controlling, and you have to do things to keep the audience from shooting at you.
Right? Yeah. Things like that are fun.
So,
and that's why I'd like other forms of moving, so that you can actually throw someone into the pit of acid instead of them having to stand in the exact right spot for you to push or charge them into it.
Yeah. You could throw somebody 2 or 3 hexes instead of just 1 or something.
That'd be crazy.
It would be crazy, but
even if you set it up with an oil slick, so you push them and they hit the oil slick and then they slide in, like it'd be a yeah.
I mean, I guess
there's all kinds of
technically that could be the way. Is like, okay, hexes are normally 30 square meters. It's like, no, they're 10 square meters. Like
yeah. So a push would actually be more than 1 hex.
Yeah.
Or could be. There might be some weird piloting role to determine that. But yeah, a couple more tables where it would be easy to look it up and use it, but it wouldn't slow the game down too much. Okay. Obviously, everything you add on is going to slow it down some.
Yeah,
but just keep that to a minimum. Definitely do not take it the Alpha Strike direction for this.
I think the problem with that is simple things like 2 machine guns versus 3 machine guns gets cut out in the wash. But I think I don't think Alpha Strike is the format for a hyper focused duel.
But it's the other direction.
Yeah, other way.
Do you have any favorite stories of when you've played in Solaris VII?
Yeah, okay, sure. So way back in college, we were doing one of the MechWarrior RPGs, and it happened to take place on the Solaris world. And this is actually their first trip to Solaris, so this was all new to them. And it's before they met Crazy Eddie. It's before they had their own little mini base set up on there, and they had gotten drafted into this stable to fight a couple matches. But the guy was really shady, and he was working with another group, and they were telling them, okay, look, they sent him a hidden message, a secret message. It was an origami bird or cat or something, and you open it up, and it's like, look, here's 1,000 C-bills. If you throw this match and make it look good, there's another 5,000 where that came from, and the guy the player took it, and he ripped it up, and he's like, I'm not throwing a match. There's no way in the world I would throw a match.
Oh,
and he was like, he was in a Phoenix Hawk going up against some mech where the Phoenix Hawk was definitely supposed to win. And just because his dice were not with him, he absolutely lost that game doing that. And the guy's like, "Oh, you did really well throwing that match," and it was an amazing sequence of events that made him lose. And it was just so believable that he super secretly threw the match. So the guy gave him a bonus 1,000, so he gave him 6,000 C-bills bonus for that. And then of course everybody's like, "Oh, these guys threw the match." It's like, I didn't. I just suck. It was a fun time that we got to revisit many times throughout their Solaris adventures whenever that pilot's name was mentioned.
No, that sounds awesome.
It was fantastic, and we were playing with the dueling rules then, so it was that game took a nice afternoon.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
All right, do we have anything else we want to talk about for Solaris VII?
I mean, it's fun. You should, if you have never tried it, you should definitely try it. It is a unique take on the BattleTech experience for sure.
Now, I will say, Denham, you've done the BattleTech Essentials box. Is that a close enough approximation right now?
It is the Essentials box is a great way to introduce people to the concept of Solaris. It's obviously got the beginner box rules, so there's no internal structure. There's no torso twisting, though. With the beginner boxes, really, I throw torso twisting in to teach people how, because it's so weird to not do that.
Yeah.
But those games only take like 20 to 30 minutes to run. It is a great way to say, look, there are arenas in BattleTech, and this is how it works. This is how you roll for the walls to pop up and down. These are how arena combats happen. And so, yeah, I would say if you just want a decent idea, pick up the Essentials box, because at least you'll have a mini arena. You actually have two of them. I just like the Steiner Stadium one better.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use that with the beginner box rules or the classic rules. We used classic when the last time we played on it, and it worked super well. Yeah, for a $25 box set, it is a great introduction to Solaris.
And if you're already playing classic, like $30 for $5 extra, $30, you can go to even Amazon Prime and get the classic BattleTech map pack Solaris VII.
Right. So that map pack comes with reprinted maps. So with reprinted maps from the entire box set plus the Outreaches expansion. So you actually get a lot of maps, and you get a nice rule book that has descriptions of all the different arenas that are on those maps, plus all of those the weapons technology and the crowd stuff, like everything we just mentioned, except for the 2.5 second turns. That's in the box set only. And
you even get a little bit on the stables and the cities in here too. I mean, this is a great little book too, if you're going to do it classic style.
Yes.
Yep. Pick it up.
Give
it a try. It comes recommended from Denham.
Highly. Yep. Got my stamp of approval.
Oh, that sounds awesome. So pick up the BattleTech Essentials, give that a try, see how you like it, then jump right into the 1991 Solaris VII.
No, the 2004 map pack, please.
And play classic with that, with some extra flair.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is what we'll be using at the store. Is the 2004 map pack set, not the original 1991 box set.
Never go full Solaris VII. You heard it here, folks. Never go full Blood Pit.
All right. I just don't got time anymore.
All right. Anyone want to send us home?
I can. You can contact us at the mechbaypodcast@gmail.com. Check us out on Facebook and Discord, and a special thank you to all our Patreons. And remember, fluid guns are not toys, except that they really are. Mech paintball, anybody?